Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Filipa, I'm a transformational coach and I am more than happy to welcome you here. Let your spirit rise. In this channel we speak about personal development, spirituality and how to put everything into practice so that you can actually experience the change and transformation that you're seeking. Today we are going to discuss 5 different ways in which you are actually breaking the connection with yourself without even knowing it. The first thing that we need to discuss is the fact that throughout our days we are doing a lot of things on autopilot, so we don't really think about them. They are just unconscious habits or behaviors, and some of those habits and behaviors are actually doing only wrong to us, so they're not good for us, but we are still doing them without noticing, and this is where awareness comes in. And of course this is why I create such videos, so that you can actually put your focus on things that are not good for you and that need change. So the first thing that I want to discuss is something that I did pretty much my entire life until 2020, when I actually managed to overcome this and my life completely changed. Avoiding silence. Something that most of us do is that we never stay with ourselves on our own. We either read books or we watch YouTube videos or we listen to podcasts or we talk with friends and family on the phone, listen to music. We always do something to distract ourselves from being with ourselves. The truth is that the only way that you can get to know yourself is by staying in silence with yourself. Of course, you can observe your reactions and behaviors in different situations, but to get to know how you think and what your true self is, you need to stay in silence. And this in the beginning can be very scary, and you might fear loneliness or emptiness, and that's okay, and that's completely normal. But all those feelings are actually within you, and even if you distract yourself and ignore them, it doesn't mean that they just disappear. They still remain there. Feelings and also fears, of course. So if you fear loneliness, just by distracting yourself constantly with other people and different tasks, it doesn't mean that the loneliness as a feeling is not a part of you. It's still there, but it's just suppressed deep down. And whenever you try to be by yourself, it is very possible that this feeling will just emerge and it will become, you're going to become aware of it and you're actually going to feel it. But this is the only way to overcome both the fear and this discomforting feeling. The moment when I decided to overcome this and I actually forced myself in a way even to stay by myself in a house for a few months, which was a bit extreme. I don't recommend it, but it actually did the work for me. In the beginning, it was really scary for me to actually push myself into doing something that I never did before, because in the past I was always with someone, either with my boyfriends or with friends or with family, or I was never alone. And I knew that once I decide to put myself in such a situation, I'm actually going to have to overcome a lot of the feelings that I'm suppressing otherwise. And on the other side of this challenge that I made for myself was freedom in all aspects of my life. Because one, I learned that actually I can overcome things by myself. So in that way, my confidence level also increased. And two, once I managed to overcome the feeling and the fear of being alone and of what is going to, actually what part of myself am I going to meet, I learned that there is nothing scary about it, and that I can actually teach myself not just to overcome fears by being alone, but also to actually have a lot of fun by myself. And this made me extremely independent of other people as well. So there are many benefits. We're going to talk about that in another video, because this is a completely different topic, like a topic on its own. But if you are a person that constantly distracts him or herself with social media or people or tasks, can be work as well, then it would be very helpful for your own personal development to learn to actually be by yourself and learn to stay in silence. Number 2 is ignoring your body signals. This is something that a lot of us do because we here in the Western society have not been taught on how to listen to our bodies, how to understand different signals. We are constantly just pushing ourselves to go through life, basically. So what usually happens is that we ignore the small signals that our body sends us, and we just wait until it reaches an extreme level of either a sickness or a burnout or whatever, so that we actually make the change that the body was asking us to make. So the body is never a betrayer of us, because lately what I hear from a lot of clients who have different health issues, they say, I just don't trust my body. I feel betrayed by my body. And I do understand this completely. However, the thing is that the body is never the betrayer. The body is always working for us. So for example, if you really hate the job that you're going to and you feel and experience huge amounts of stress constantly, but you don't make the change because you're afraid of change or of many, many things that can come to your mind, then your body perceives that you go to a place every single day where you don't feel good, you feel extremely stressed, you feel unhappy, but you still go to this place. So the body is gonna think of some ways so that it helps you to not go to this place where you feel stressed. And this is where sickness comes, you know what I mean? And of course, I'm not a doctor. I don't give any diagnosis to anyone. I am just saying that ignoring our bodies and the signals that it gives is just never a smart idea. And of course, by doing this, we cannot create and maintain a strong connection to our bodies nor to ourselves. Creating a connection to our bodies and to the different aspects within us, it is like creating a connection with anybody else. You just need to spend time and energy and to listen and to ask and to observe so that you get to know your body. Different bodies send different signals, and to understand your own body, you need to pay attention to it. You need to put your focus on it. You need to start experimenting with it as well. And after a while, this connection is going to become stronger and more powerful. And with time and practice, you are going to build this strong connection with your body, and you're going to be able to understand it easily. And you are going to work with it, and you're never going to feel like it's betraying you or it's against you. Number 3. Escaping discomfort constantly. This is sort of connected to number 1, avoiding the silence or staying with yourself. But looking from another perspective, what people often do is that as soon as they feel some discomfort in themselves, they of course reach for their phone or just for another distraction so that they just don't feel the discomfort feeling that they're trying to avoid. But also something that I notice often is that as soon as people feel a certain level of discomfort, because every time that you do something new or every time that you challenge yourself, you are going to feel a different level of discomfort depending on the situation. So nowadays, what I hear very often people say, especially people from the personal development and spiritual field, they say, well, I didn't feel like it, or I didn't feel it today, you know? And this is okay. It's okay to listen to our bodies, but it's the perfect way to distinguish between the feeling of my body, how my body feels, and whether I'm just staying in my comfort zone and I'm not pushing myself to actually do some new things because it feels uncomfortable. So let's say you have decided to start going to the gym, and the first few days go well, you feel motivated, but on the 4th day you just don't feel like it. And the way to distinguish whether you really need rest or you're just being lazy is to ask yourself the question, do I really not want to go because my body feels in pain, or it is sore, or I just have a headache or a stomachache or whatever, or am I just being lazy, you know? And if you're being lazy, this is the time to actually push yourself, because the only way that you can grow is by going out of the known. It's not even a comfort zone, because a lot of the times the comfort zone is so discomfortable for us, but we still stay there because of the ego, because we're used to it, because it's known. And this is why I'm saying that these are the moments where we actually need to, push ourselves and go out of it. Number 4, saying yes when you want to say no. To be able to do this, first, we need to understand how we feel in different situations, to ask actually ourselves, do I want to do it or do I not want to do it? Because I know that a lot of us act in automatic way, on autopilot, and we don't even understand whether we're doing something that we actually want or not. We just do it. And this is especially applicable for the so-called people pleasers. These type of people, they just want others to be happy because they want to feel like they belong. They want to feel like they are loved and liked by others, and they perceive this as the only way to belong somewhere. But the truth is that every time that you say yes and you want to say no, or the opposite, you are actually betraying yourself, whether you understand it and whether you're aware of it or not. And second of all, being such a person does not connect you to the right people. A lot of the times we're just afraid that if we say no, or if we set a boundary, people are going to abandon us. But the truth is that the right people are going to respect this, and they're going to be okay with this, and they're going to stay with us. And this is, of course, mutual. If we respect ourselves, we are going to be able to respect others, and then we're going to receive the same attitude from the people around us. Something very important to keep in mind is that whenever we speak about human connections, there is no formula. So you cannot just force yourself to always say yes when you feel it and always say no when you feel like it's a no. Because there are certain situations that are exceptions. Let's take 2 different scenarios as an example. In the first scenario, you go back home from work, you're very tired, you have a headache, and you have scheduled a meeting with your best friend to go out and drink wine, but you really, really don't feel like it. And if you are scared to say no, you are going to push yourself, you are going to betray yourself and go out and drink wine with your friend just because you have scheduled it and because you're maybe afraid that your friend is going to be mad at you afterwards. So in this specific situation, we can surely say that it is not such a big deal to say no, because the circumstances are not critical. You just have scheduled a dinner or going out to a bar, and if you say no and your friend decides to be mad at you or to abandon you or whatever, then you need to actually think about the mutual respect and if it is present in your relationship with your friend or whoever it is. Let's take scenario number 2, a very similar situation. You go back from work, you're extremely tired, have a headache, but your best friend calls you and she says that her boyfriend just broke up with her and she's extremely sad, she's crying. So in this situation, you have the critical factors. This is an exception because you have your best friend who needs you in this moment, and in this specific situation, well, yeah, you can ignore the fact that you are very tired because you know that your best friend needs you. And if you are in the same situation as her or him, then you are going to understand and then you are going to need a friend to talk to, to feel better. So these are the situations that I'm talking about. You always need to think about the factors, how critical they are. There is just no formula. And number 5, overthinking instead of actually feeling. This is something that I am so familiar with because I tend to analyze and overanalyze everything. The way that I process a lot of the feelings that I actually feel is through analysis. This is why I have thousands, or not thousands, but hundreds of notebooks and journals, because I like doing this. However, and there's nothing wrong with it. So journaling is actually a very therapeutic practice and it helps a lot. The problem with this comes when you go or you get to an extreme, to which I have gotten before. So I used to write all the time, everything, and analyze it and understand it through my mind, but I was not allowing myself to actually feel the emotions that I was feeling. So this whole analysis turned into suppressing the emotions that I had. So over time, I learned to leave myself alone and let myself experience what I was feeling. And after this, of course, I can analyze, I can write down, I can share even with friends or whoever. But before that, it is very, very important to feel the feelings. This is the only way to make sure that we're not suppressing what we have in our bodies. So over time, I learned to let myself experience or feel the feelings. And after this, then there's nothing wrong with journaling, writing down, sharing, whatever. But you cannot just ignore the feelings, or you cannot just pretend that they're not there, because they are. And even if you pretend that they're not there, they are still, as I said in the beginning of the video, they're just gonna be underneath, they're going to be suppressed, but they are still a part of you, and they are going to lead to different consequences afterwards. So it's always better to experience or feel the feelings and then analyze and understand the situation in a different way with the mind. If you want to get in touch, don't forget to fill in the form down below or message me on Instagram. I will be more than happy to be of assistance to your personal development and transformation. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to see you next week.